Now we got hybrid folks. How do you kind of create that culture? Well, first, it's going back to what I said, because we don't have the organic culture stuff that kind of naturally happens. It's not in the air and the water. They're not walking down the halls with a mural with the culture painted on it. They're not walking into a meeting room with one of the values, above the meeting room. They're not seeing it. I remember when I did an internship when I was getting my MBA. I did it between my first and second year. I did an internship at Chick-fil-A in their corporate office. Tell lots of stories about that. It was a great experience. But I'll tell you, every single person in there, always holding door opens for people. My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. I mean, I got my pleasure to death. I still to this day say my pleasure all the time, all the time, all the time. And that was just 2 months. So it doesn't take long to do it, but that is easy when you're in the office. When you're remote, we have to be intentional. We have to put it into the agenda. So managers have got to make time to talk about it. That's the first thing. It's got to be a regular conversation point. Don't just jump in right into work without first talking about the culture first, because that really guides how we should approach the work in the first place. So we want to talk about that every single meeting, or at least once a week. Have a moment for culture, okay? CEOs should be sending out quarterly newsletters like they used to, talking about culture, telling a culture story. They should be doing that stuff, particularly when it's a big footprint, organizations global, or you got a lot of locations. Now that's one. The second is a lot of organizations are doing this, but we've got to create time and space for employees to come together in person. Maybe that's only once a year. Ideally, it'd be more like twice a year, once a quarter. I know it's expensive. Get it? And that's the downside to having a hybrid workforce, or folks that working in other states. They're going to have to fly in, hotel costs. But hey, y'all decided to do this, so you're going to have to figure out how to make this work, because you need that time in person. And that's when you really need to be doubling down on culture.